Okie doke. So, we're here in Marvelous Designer, and normally in these videos, I would say, if you watched my previous videos, you can skip this part. But there's something different about the Slugger Shark. Because they're so big and the way they're actually positioned, you may have to do things a lot differently than you. Well, actually, you do everything exactly the same except for one minor thing. So if you already watched my previous videos and you learned Marvelous Designer, you can skip ahead into the video until you start seeing me make a t-shirt. Then you're going to want to stop right there and continue the tutorial from there, because there's some important information about that when I get there. But this is really going to be dumbed down for everybody else. I guess dumbed down isn't the right word to say, but I'm going to be explaining it as if a person never seen or used Marvelous Designer. So it's pretty beginner friendly. So that may irritate people who already have it. Alright, so I guess I talked long enough. Let's start importing our avatar. So what you want to do is go to the top left, and you're going to go File, Open, Avatar. And then we're going to pick the big dummy file that's right here. And we're going to press M and load it in. Now, as you see, this is the big difference. I said we're being mooned here. You can see, you can see we are here in the 3D window. We get a nice shot of the slugger's butt. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to turn it around so it's at the front. So that's one thing that's different about this from everything. The sharks are actually a negative 180 degrees, rotated 180 degrees in the wrong direction. So they are actually this is their front and this is their back. So this is how we're going to work. What you're going to do is sometimes Marvel's Designer will hang on, give me a second. Let me start over. Calm down for a second. I'm getting overwhelmed. Sometimes when people load up Marvelous Designer for the first time, they will see that there are no 2D pattern tools up here. And how do you fix that is you click on this gray area here, which you right click, and it should say 2D pattern tool. You're going to click that, and it should switch over to the pattern tools will pop in. So what we're going to do now is get rid of the default clothes that were here when we loaded it up. You do that by going File and then New, and then there you go. All the stuff is gone. So we now have a nice blank canvas for working on our Slugger Shark. So let me explain the tools to you. The tool you're going to be using the most is the polygon tool. This tool here allows you to make the pattern shapes and stuff that you'll be using. They work with a connect the dot system, which means that you can make any shape you want as long as you connect the dot back to the first starting point. So you can make any shape in the world as long as it ends where it began. See? Next to that tool is the create rectangle tool. It lets you create quick rectangles and stuff, so you don't have to use the polygon tool and try to make rectangles. You can just grab that tool and do that. Next to that is the circle tool, and just like the rectangle tool, it allows you to create circle patterns all over the place. So I'm going to press New and clear out my workspace. Nope, don't save. So next to the tools, you'll see some internal tools. These are the red tools, and they act kind of like these are the internal pattern tools, and they work just like the tools that we just showed you, except for they work inside the pattern. So this is the internal polygon tool, and unlike the external pattern tools, they are not restricted with the connect the dot system. So you can just double click and create any kind of shape you want, and you don't have to double click at the beginning. You may wonder what these are for. Let's say this, create a new file again. New. No. Okay, so let's say this is the panel for a dress, and you want to sew rigid ruffles along the side, cookie sneak, and you want to sew ruffles along the side of it, you would use the internal tool to create a line on the pattern, and then you would just sew your ruffles and stuff onto that line. So you would have the ruffles alongside your dresses up and down wherever you wanted to put it. The internal tools, this one next to it is the internal square or internal rectangle. Lets you create internal rectangles and stuff, which is good for when you want to make like box pleats and things like that. Internal tools can also be converted into what's those things called, folds and elastic and things like that, all sorts of fun things. But the best thing is you can use them. Oh, this is the internal circle. You can actually use your internal shapes and convert them into holes in the pattern. I'm going to press the sync button and show you what I mean by that. So we have our pattern, and you can see the internal tools are there. And what we're going to do is click on our internal pattern with the edit pattern arrow here, the white arrow, and you're going to click on it, and you're going to see convert to hole, and you see you now have holes and stuff inside your garment. So that's how you make holes and stuff. Alright, so that's that. I'm going to press new and get rid of this again. So now that you learned those tools, I'm going to start and to show you about the other tools that you're going to be using, the sewing tools. In order to show you how to sew, we got to first make a pattern to sew together. So this is where I was saying that, what's it called? This is where I want people to stop and play the video. I told you to skip ahead. We're going to start by making a t-shirt because like I said before, once you learn how to make a t-shirt, you can pretty much make everything else. It's like the starting thing. Once you get the hang of making shirts, you can just branch off and make any other kind of garment. Because with the exception of some skirts and dresses, all you have to do is draw the shape of the pattern, draw the shape of the garment, and you can make that into 3D clothes. It also helps if you do have some kind of training with making patterns. If you can make patterns in real life, you could just recreate those patterns and sew them together same way, and then you will have garments that way. But if you don't know that, then you can just draw the shape of it. Whew, sorry, all the explanation. Now we can get into the fun stuff. So we're going to start and make our t-shirt. So what I like to do is zoom in while scrolling my mouse wheel down. And I like to start at the center fold line. That's this line going right through your avatar. And I'm going to select the polygon tool. And I'm going to start at the center part where the chest is, where I want the what's those things called? A collar. The dip of the shirt to start. So right here in the middle. And you're going to go up to where the shoulder is. And then you're going to make the sleeves by making it as long as you want. So about here. And then you're going to make it as wide as you want. The next line is making it as wide as you want. Then you're going to bring that sleeve underneath the armpit, just stopping before the boob. And then we're going to bring this shirt down as long as we want it. But because this shark is so big, you may have to make it a little bit longer than what you had planned. So if you want it to be like right here, you're going to have to probably bring it down to like right down here. If that makes sense. So I'm going to click. And then we're going to go right back to the fold line. If you're having a hard time making straight lines, you can hold down the shift key and it brings up a snap guide, and you can just hold it down and then drag it back to the center and then move right back up to the top where we began. So now we have a folded t-shirt pattern. I'm going to press escape and get rid of that. We're going to press the edit pattern button and click on the middle line, right click, and then unfold. So now we have a t-shirt. So what we're going to do next is click on its shirt again and then go copy and then paste. And now we have the back of the shirt. Now because we don't want to dip in the shirt like this in the back of the shirt, we're just going to click on the button and then hit delete, and it'll straighten it out. We're also going to get rid of the bottom dots at the bottom of the shirt, the bottom points. And now we have a functional t-shirt pattern. So to get the t-shirt pattern to show up in the 3D window, you're going to press the sync button up top. And whatever, when the sync button is activated, whatever you do here in the 2D window, shows up in the 3D window. See how we're moving it about and it's moving? Now, if the sync button is turned off and you do some moving of the pattern and changing things around, it won't show up. So if you find that your stuff isn't showing up or editing, you may have to turn on the sync and let it go. Now it's time for us to sew it. But before we sew, we have to position the fabric in the right place. Now normally, when we're doing Marvelous Designer, I would tell you to take the pattern that you want to move into the back and then flip it horizontally. But because this avatar is positioned the way it is, and we couldn't rotate it without breaking it, you'll have to do the opposite. So you're going, in this instance, you're going to take the pattern that goes in the front and flip it horizontally and move it forward. And then you take the pattern that goes in the back and just slide it behind it. And you want to make sure that the pattern is pushed up against your avatar like so. That way you can, what's it called? That way the draping won't take too long. And then we're going to take the front and we're going to push it against the avatar like so. Making sure that it's not going inside the boob at least too much. The process for the male is the exact same. So if you got a male shark, you're going to be following the same steps. There's also something that I forgot to do before we began this. I mean, if you're working on a slugger shark and you're going to be making a bunch of stuff for it, you're going to need to change your particle distance. The particle distance is pretty much showing, it's like samples is in Blender. So the higher the sample rate, the lower. Oh wait, no, forget it. Let me just say it this way. The best way I can describe particle distance, the higher the number is, the lower quality the mesh will be when you are simulating the fabric. The lower the number is, the higher quality it will be when it's simulating the fabric. But the higher the number is, the slower your simulation will be, and the heavier it will be in triangles. So the higher the number is, the faster it will simulate, and the lower it'll be in triangles. Because the slugger shark is so big, the default number of 20 that we pretty much use in all of this is way too high. I rendered a t-shirt for them with that, and it was like 20k in triangles. So we don't want that. So what we're going to have to do is change the particle setting. Normally you can just click on your garment and you can just do it as particle distance, and you can change the number. But if you're going to be making a lot of things back to back to back, you can actually set it the default particle distance. That way when you go to put down your pattern, you don't have to click on it and then go change particle distance, click on this, change particle distance with each single piece. So this kind of saves you time. So what you're going to do is go into preference, and you want to hit etc. And you want to change the particle distance. At least what I use is like 30 to 40, so 36 is a good number. So change it to 36 and then hit close. So now whenever you make a new pattern in the 2D window, it will come up with a 36 particle distance. If your computer's still blowing up and you feel that's too much, you can feel free to make the number a little bit higher, but no, it's going to produce more holes and like glitches, so you don't want it to be too high. That's why I said 36. So now we have our particle distance and everything set. We can go and actually name our pattern. So you can just click on it and click on the pattern you want to name, go over to basic, and it says name, and we're going to name this front, and then we can click on the back part and then name this back, and then you're going to right click, and you're going to press this button right here that says show particle name, or press shift N, and then you'll be able to see that this is the front part, this is the back part. That'll help you out when your patterns and stuff start getting complex and you may lose it, so you would know which pattern does what. Alright, so we got our patterns named, we got the particle distance set up, so now we can do is just start sewing. So you want to go to the top right here with the 3D tools. If you don't have it, make sure that this is just checked, which says 3D pattern tools. I'm going to use the segment sewing box right here and start sewing the edges together. So bring your mouse down to the edge of the shirt and click on it, and then drag it over to the other edge and then click. And then you want to click on another edge and then do the same thing. You notice how we did this. There are two types of lines that are going. One that is totally straight and one that's twisted. Now you want to make sure that your lines are always straight like this, because that tells Marvelos Designer grab this edge, pull it together, and let those two be sewn straight. If your lines are crooked, it tells Marvelos Designer to pull these lines together and then twist it at the middle, and then that will cause some errors, and you don't want that. So how do you fix this? Well, crooked lines. Well, sometimes when you're doing your line work, your sewing, you could just press Control Alt Z and then go backwards, or Control Z and go backwards. But if you went too far ahead and you can't go back without messing something else up, you can just press this button right here, the Edit Seam Lines, and then click on your lines here. One of the lines, if I can get it to go, there we go. Right click on it, and then you're going to press Reverse Seam Line, and that'll straighten out your lines. So I'm just going to sew all along this shirt right here, and here, and right here, and right there. So there we go. That shows you how to sew. Now the lines are all sewn together. We can press the play button and start the simulation. Make sure you say a prayer before it goes. Oh, it just missed it. So I guess I should have said the prayer before I pressed the simulation. So let's hit yes and redo the body. And I guess with no, you don't. When it comes to this, we may have to pull it up a little bit higher and then simulate. Alright, that's a lot better. We can try this one more time. Maybe with it not being inside the boobs, that might help. Alright, so pull it a little bit higher. And now we simulate. Maybe it only works if it is inside the boobs. I don't know. The slugger shark with this boobs, like if I had the male one, you won't be going through this because the male chest is so flat, it'll just go through. But the boobs, that one gives you the most trouble. That's why I decided to use it. Not because I'm like don't want to make clothes for men. Alright, there we go this time. So we have the shirt on, and it's pretty up there, isn't it? So we can just pull it over the sleeves, like the shoulders, like so. I don't have to have it over the shoulders like all the rest of my shirts were. Alright, so it's pulled up, it's over here. It's going great so far. Alright, so we have our shirt. And I'm going to try pulling it out. But if you see that flesh is going through no matter how much you try pulling on it, don't worry about it. We can just fix that in Blender. If you want to make your shirt longer, you just grab the bottom of the shirt like so. And then pull it down. Sometimes you'll have to pull the fabric out of the body. And a little more. Almost. There we go. Pull it out like that, and then do the same thing on the other side if you want it to be longer. So right now it's kind of like a night shirt. If you want it to be shorter, I'm talking like Hooters style, you just click on the bottom of each side. So click on the bottom, hold down shift, click on that bottom, and then pull it upwards like so. And then you can make it shorter if you want. She's a big lady. Let's give her something sassy. There we go. Okay, so we have our shirt and stuff made. Let's give her a pair of pants so she's not walking around with a junk out. So what we're going to do is make a pair of pants. I'm going to pause it, the simulation. And I'm just going to scroll in. And then we're going to start making a pair of pants. So do the same thing. Grab your polygon tool. Start as high as you want the pants to go. Go down, hold down shift to make a straight line. Stop just below the crotch. Make a kind of right angle or left angle. And then you're going to go down as long as you want the pants to be. So about this. And then drag it across. Bring it up to like the hip. Go up the curve of the body. Hold down shift. And then go back to the beginning. Okay, that's a front pair of the pants. And then we're going to go to our middle line. And then we're going to unfold. And now we're going to delete this center point that's here. And I do this because if we left this here, in order to sew up the crotch, we would have to sew up this panel and then that panel, and then that's a lot of work for no reason. If we just click on that point and hit delete, we would just be able to sew this one time and then get that over with. So we have that. We're going to do the same thing at the top so it's nice and straight. And now we're going to copy and then paste. And then, like before, we're going to select the front of the pattern and then flip horizontally and bring it forward. And then take the back of the pants and put it back here. And yeah, so we're just going to do this and make it a little bit higher so it doesn't fall down the leg. So I'm going to make it about there. Alright, compensate for butt. Whoops, I'm rotating when I shouldn't be rotating. Ah, jeez. So here we go. Alright, so now we start sewing just like we did with the t-shirt. Alright. Now we're going to press play. Alright, now there's no way I'm going to be able to make these pants fit properly. The here, wow, that's a lot of cheek falling out. I'm going to redo this real quick. Ah! I forgot I was supposed to right click on it and only rearrange that one pattern, not both. Idea. So let's put this here and then there and then just play it again. Isn't that amazing how the second time around it just goes? Oh, that's a leg. I don't know if I want to have sassy pants like that, so let's try this one more time. I guess it would have went straight if I would have came around and made it straight, so let's put that back. Make you feel worse to tell me. There we go. Let's try it again. It's because of these gigantic shark knockers. What? Shut up, Dave. Oh, sorry, honey. You just say shark titties? I thought that's what you said. The statement of you shutting up stands. Shut up. I'm trying to be serious. Although that kind of reminds me of what the creator said about this. She's like, you know what? I wonder why I don't see a lot of people wearing these shark avatars. Why don't I see titty sharks walking around here? Like, of all the tits that I worked on, that's the one I put a decent amount of effort in. And demand that people wear them. So hopefully if you guys do try this mod and avatar out, it huh? Yes, at least try to titty it up shark for the creator's sake, for putting in so much work. Just go by there, wear the shark, and jiggle for her and say hi for me, please. So we have this. We'll be able to fix this up in Blender. So that's about as good as I'm gonna get right now. So now that we have a pair of pants and our shirt here, I'm gonna export this and then put it into Blender. So you're gonna export our clothes. Actually, you can save this pattern so you can actually give this away to people or come back to it without having to reload everything up. So you can just save the Marvelous Designer file. You go save as, and then you save as project. And I'm going to put it in my project file, which is a Slugger Shark thing here, and Slugger. All right. So we have that, and you're going to hit export, and then OBJ, and then we're going to name this shark clothes. Alright, so I'm going to press M, and then these two, and then that, so that only cloth shape is going, and then we're going to hit OK. Alright, so that's it for Marvelous Designer. We can close this program and then go right into, what's it called? We can go into doing something, I just can't remember what it's called. Oh, we can take this into Blender and then start the rigging and correction process. So, see you over there.